Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to Unc and Phew, episode 8. Episode 8, man. Y'all, welcome to Unc and Phew. It's your boy, Big Stepper. Unc is going to be out for a little bit today. Your host with the most. It's your boy nephew, man. It's your boy nephew. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk all about these topics, man. It's gonna be my first time doing a solo stream, man. Doing a solo stream. So if y'all in the comments, if y'all are around, I want y'all to start out by liking the video. You know what I mean? And we're gonna run through these topics, man, as we see the Chiefs. Yes, it's a Germany game. We have the Chiefs playing the Miami Dolphins right now with 7-0 Chiefs. Man, it's wild, man. Tyreek Hill facing his old team. You know what I mean? But we got to talk about the biggest news. The biggest news. And yes, I'm going to talk about it. Raiders firing, you know what I mean? Josh McDaniels and the GM. I forgot his name. It is what it is. But they got embarrassed. They got embarrassed on national television. You know what I mean? And the worst part about it is that the Raiders are actually, they were projected to be a good team. They were actually projected to be a good team. You know what I mean? The Raiders to lose that bad to the Detroit Lions 26-14, bro. On Monday Night Football, getting gashed by Jameer Gibbs, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I saw like two or three passes that could have went to Devontae Adams for touchdowns, multiple touchdowns. And Jimmy G, the dude who somehow was able to finesse the Raiders into paying him money, was missing everything. You know what I mean? And he looked mad. He looked depressed. He looked all type of things because this is the best wide receiver in the league, and he can't even display his talents, man. This is halfway point in the season, bro. We're halfway point in the season. We're going to week 9, week 8. We're close to the middle, and the best receiver in the league is barely getting any looks, dog. Barely getting any looks. And when you see Josh McDaniels, why was he hired? Josh McDaniels was hired to be an offensive wizard. You know what I mean? When your best player, basically, Devontae Adams gets one catch for 11 yards, that don't work, man. A week before with the Bears, 7 receptions for 57 yards, that don't work, bro. That does not work. That's not it. That's not how it goes. So, rightfully so, Josh McDaniels got fired. And the truth about Josh McDaniels and a lot of coordinators or future coaches for, you know what I mean, who leave the New England Patriots system, they fail. The truth about the Patriots system or the Patriots way is Tom Brady. Tom Brady made Josh McDaniels look like a good offensive coordinator. That's a fact. Just like Adam Gase. If y'all remember Adam Gase, Peyton Manning made Adam Gase look like a good offensive coordinator. But then Adam Gase went to Miami, flamed out, trash. He went to New York, flamed out, trash. These quarterbacks are making the coaches. And me and Unc, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We talked about, Bill Belichick looking trash without Brady. If you look at Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady, he's a 500 coach. 500 coach. 500 meaning he'll lose or win the game is 500%. But with Brady, he's winning 70%. He's winning 7 chips. 6 actually. 1-1 with Tampa Bay. So when you look at the Raiders, man, I don't think they're making the playoffs. But they have a new interim coach called Antonio Pierce, who a lot of players like and respect. This is a former New York Giants linebacker. If you look at the Raiders, they should have kept Rich Pisaccia. This was the dude that helped the Raiders go to the playoffs after John Gruden got fired. And let me say this about John Gruden, man. I made a video about this on this channel. John Gruden himself, by the way, y'all rocking with the hater blockers, man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm out here, man. But if you look at John Gruden and his emails exchanges, right? There's a reason that only his got leaked. Now, for me here, on behalf of Unc and Phew, We don't condone or rock with, misogyny, racism, sexism, homophobia. We don't do that. We don't do that on this channel, man. We're old school, but we're not haters. We're not hateful. And the email exchanges that John Gruden has, they were hateful. They were bad. But there were other people on that receiving end who were communicating with him, and they weren't exposed. So there was a plot to get rid of John Gruden. That's a fact, right? And then Rich Bisaccia came in as the interim. He got along well with the Raiders. They could have made a massive run, but they got rid of him and hired Josh McDaniels, who he's trash, man. He is so bad. He's ruined multiple teams. The Denver Broncos was his chance, and he actually even got hired by the Indianapolis Colts for like 8 hours. Rescinded that and came back to New England. Here's the crazy part, man. Guys like Josh McDaniels are dudes they're built not to fail. What do I mean by that? Even though he just got fired, he's going back to Bill Belichick. Mediocre coaches getting hired, getting promoted, getting all type of jobs without the proper skills. And then you look at a guy like Eric Bieniemy, who literally helped that Kansas City offense be what it was, but you know what I mean? Now he's not even useful. You know what I mean? And it's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad. But dudes like this, you could say white privilege, you can say all type of things, but they fail upwards. How do you fail as the coach for Denver and then get promoted to the LA Raiders job? Pathetic. I'm saying this, man. This is my prediction. I think the Raiders are actually going to have a resurgence. I think they're going to do really, really well. And, getting rid of that cancer, Josh McDaniels, is good. And what Josh McDaniels tried to do is he tried to make the Raiders be like a New England West or something like that. Brought in Chandler Jones, brought in obviously Jimmy G, brought in a ton of coaching personnel from New England. You cannot recreate New England elsewhere, dog. You have to create your own thing. So I don't cheer for people to lose their jobs, but dog, I wasn't surprised that he got fired. He probably should have got fired earlier. It is what it is. I think the Raiders are going to go on a run and win some games, but let's talk about some other big games from last week, man. The Chiefs lose to Denver, man. Y'all saw that? Y'all saw that. Man, I don't know what happened to the Broncos defense, but they came to play. They had Patrick Mahomes running for his life. They were causing turnovers. They were stopping our run game. They made Kelsey look average. And here's the crazy part about it. Kelsey, I'm sorry I have to bring it up. But Kelsey didn't have T Swift in the building. Taylor Swift is getting ready for the rest of her tour. You know what I mean? And like we talk about on this podcast, man, having a woman around you makes a big difference. So you look at, I don't know if I can count this, but Taylor Swift was in there. Terrible game for Kelsey. I think he had like 5 catches for like maybe 50 some yards. You know what I mean? Mahomes was under siege. It was crazy. And let me tell you something, man. I didn't think I'd say this, but Russell Wilson was looking better than Mahomes. Yeah, I'm going to repeat what I just said. Russell Wilson was looking better than Mahomes. Shocking, right? I never thought I'd hear those words. And if you looked a few weeks earlier, Russ and Mahomes have similar stats. So here's the thing, right? Sean Payton is actually starting this offense, this Broncos offense, to starting to make it look good. I think the key to this offense is the run game. The run game is key to this offense, man. You have Russell Wilson actually scrambling for yards, actually going out of his way to make plays with his legs. And if you look at the Seattle Seahawks, the team that he came from, that's what they were all about. They had beast mode. They had Russ, who's part of the run game, and they had a crazy defense. That's how they won. So if the Broncos keep this formula, right, they ran 27 carries for Javonte Williams, man. Only 19 passes for Russ. That's the formula. Run the rock and play good defense. And I'm proud of, Jerry Jeudy. He played really, really well. You know what I mean? 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. That's what you need. You don't need this air raid, borderline Miami Dolphins, offensive attack. No. Old school football, run the ball, keep pounding, right? No turnovers, by the way, and play good defense. Contain Patrick Mahomes because the Chiefs don't have receivers, man. The main receiver is literally Travis Kelsey. And yes, he's hard to stop, but if you can limit him, you limit the whole offense. If you can stop, you know what I'm saying, if you can stop Mahomes from scrambling, you can actually make a difference. So for me, on my end, I look at this as a great win for Denver. It's promising. They're on a 2-game winning streak, which is kind of sad because they've been losing all the time, but they have some hope. You know what I mean? And one team that has more than hope, by the way, I'm gonna say this: Chiefs ain't the best team in the league. They ain't even the best team in the AFC. That's the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm sticking by it. Yes, Unc, I'm sticking by it. If you're watching this, Unc, Ravens are the best team in the AFC. It is what it is. But a contender for the best team in the AFC is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have the longest current winning streak, 5 games. You know what I mean? Travis Etienne is looking absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? You have a lot of great football being played down there in Jacksonville. And, Trevor Lawrence is looking good. This is a potent looking offense, and the defense is making plays. So, shouts out to them. And then we have the Jets. The Jets are rising, man. On top of that, we have, rumors of Aaron Rodgers potentially coming back early off that Achilles, man. I don't know what they did. We know that Aaron is not the biggest fan of quote unquote science, but dude is able to make it through. He's looking good. He's throwing. And Zach Wilson is actually looking good. 2 clutch passes at the fourth quarter, ready to win the game. Dude killed it. And the game was absolutely boring, absolutely trash. But guess who got the dub? The New York Jets, not the New York Giants, the New York Jets. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the squad. I'm not a hater, dog. I'm cool with it. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. They're 4-3. Could they catch up to, the Buffalo Bills? Let's see. Could they catch up to Miami? We'll see. You know what I mean? One step at a time. So for me, I also was happy about, the, Carolina Panthers finally winning a game. It was it was essentially the CJ Stroud versus man, his name is escaping me, but the number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick. You know what I mean? And the Panthers are no longer a 0-win team. Bryce, I'm tripping now, but yeah. Anyways, they're no longer a 0-win team. They caught a dub. I'm proud of them. It was a 15-13 game, trash game. It is what it is, but they still won. Bryce Young, I don't know why I blanked out on him, but shouts out to Bryce Young for that. So we got to talk about a team that's actually heading in the wrong direction too, by the way, though. We got to talk about the Niners. Yeah. hmm The exact opposite is Jacksonville Jaguars, man. The Niners are on a 3-game losing streak. They just lost to the Bengals in embarrassing fashion. And we got to start having a conversation, about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is throwing picks in the fourth quarter, Doug. He is causing turnovers. He's making them lose on God. And on top of that, the defense from the Niners is looking trash. You're trying to see, where's Nick Bosa at? Nick Bosa ain't nowhere. He's not getting no pressure. I think he has only 2 sacks all season. We're on week 9 now. You know what I mean? It's sad, but that's the facts. You know what I mean? The Niners went from the best team in the league, undefeated, 5-0, to maybe the 4th, maybe the 5th best team in the NFC. They're not even top 5 right now. And they have top 5 talent. What's the big difference, X factor? Debo Samuel's been injured, man. The defense has not been playing, and Brock Purdy been causing picks, interceptions. It's sad. And then you have the Cowboys actually going up. Going up. See, after that loss to the Niners, the Cowboys have just been winning and winning and winning. It is what it is, man. I'll say it like this. If I'm Brock Purdy or if I'm Kyle Shanahan, really, I'll focus on getting Brock Purdy up to speed, man. And having him not force the ball. I'd focus on the run game, keep the defense fresh and off the field. But I will shout out the Niners for this, though. They got Chase Young from the Washington Commanders. So they're beefing up that D-line. They're focusing on the deep pause. And I think that's going to make a big difference because when, the Niners were winning, the defense was making plays left and right. Picks, fumbles, sacks, dominating. But now that's not happening, man, on this 3-game losing streak. And the Bengals are looking better and better every day. Every day. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens this week. Let's see what happens in week 9. I will say this, though, right? In terms of fantasy football, right? In terms of fantasy football, we have essentially passed the trade deadline. By the way, the NFL trade deadline wasn't that moving. I kind of like Montez Sweat to the Bears. You know what I mean? I like Leonard Williams to the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are actually making a run. They're looking good. We'll see what happens. But in terms of fantasy football, man, your players who have to play. Trades, I think this is time to make some trades. If you're in the low bottom of your league, try to make trades, especially for players who are rising up. Kenneth Walker III. You know what I mean? I think he's balling out. He's balling out. So, there's not too much advice I can give y'all fantasy-wise, but in general, make the trades you have to make. I think Brandon Cooks is looking good. I think Brandon Cooks, especially, is fitting in that offense as the wide receiver 2 for the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, A.J. Brown for the Eagles, killing it. And be careful with the Niners, though. Niners are not putting up a lot of points. So if you have to bench Kittle, obviously don't bench McCaffrey, but if you have Brock Purdy, you might have to bench him, get another guy. It is what it is. It is what it is. I would also really, really push Devontae Adams because this Aiden O'Connell guy who replaced Jimmy G, I think he's the truth. I think he's going to do real work. So y'all stay tuned on that. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at it. That's definitely how I look at it. You know what I mean? When it comes to, here's how I look at it. When it comes to football, lines, and spreads, right? I'm going to share my screen right quick. You know what I mean? We need our lines and spreads for week 9. You know what I mean? We need to get ready. This is a power episode. We're going quick. We're going steady. We're going in. You know what I mean? On the solo vibe. As I say, right? Ultimately, we have a lot of good football games this week, man. We have a lot of good football this week, man. Obviously, we're starting with the Chiefs versus Dolphins. That's the first game. They have the Chiefs as a 1-point favorite. I'd take that. I would take that. I think this is going to be a field goal game. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be real close. Right now, it's 7-0. But I would take that. You know what I mean? We got the Ravens, Seahawks. I think they got Ravens by a touchdown, 6.5. I bet the under, man. It's going to be a fantastic game. We're going to see the truth about these teams, man. 5-2, both of them. I'd probably bet the under. It's going to be tighter than that. It's going to be definitely tighter than that. You know what I mean? And then we got the big baby. The big baby, man. Big stepper here with the big baby. The Cowboys versus Eagles, man. This might actually determine the best team in the NFC. They got Eagles -3. They're giving them a field goal. I'd bet the underdog. I think it's going to be a 1-score game. I would bet the under, and I would actually touch the Cowboys because the Cowboys offense is going crazy. And the Commanders expose the Cowboys for what they are. Not the Cowboys, the Eagles for what they are. A team that's mostly hype. that's not actually really producing as they should. You know what I mean? The Commanders were actually about to win that game until Jalen Hurts went beast mode. And funny enough, Jalen Hurts is actually the front runner for MVP right now. You could argue the Eagles are the best team, but at the same time, you have to look at it like this: how many close games have they had? How many games have you been like, what? They're about to lose? Yeah, they're about to lose. It's crazy. So for me, I kind of stay away from the Eagles. Jalen Hurts having a good season, but not a great season. He's throwing a lot of picks, a lot of turnovers. You know what I mean? But I'm going with the Cowboys, man. I'm not even a Cowboy fan, but I got the Cowboys. I think you can get some lag on that, some money. Then you have the Bills and the Bengals. Whoosh, another potential game of the week. Ooh, they got the Bengals -2. Take the over. I take the over. I'm not gonna go with the Bills. I'd go with the Bengals if I had a money line, but I'd take the over the 2. Bengals are looking nasty, man. Joe Burrow's healthy. You know what I mean? That offense is looking proper. They got Joe Mixon in the mix. Jamar Chase is doing Jamar Chase things. And the defense, surprisingly, for the Bengals is looking good. It's looking really, 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 really good. So this is going to be huge for the rest of the league. But the game of the week for me is still going to be Cowboys versus Eagles, man. We're going to determine which team is the best in the NFC. And we might even determine which team might be the best in the whole league. I hate to say this, the Cowboys are looking good. They're looking nasty. They're looking like a team that wants revenge. It is what it is. It is what it is. Cowboys versus Eagles is the game of the week for me. It's the game of the week for me, man. And if you look at the mid-season awards, right? Because we're in the middle of the season, we're seeing what's going on, right? Who's my MVP? I'm biased, man. I'm biased. I'm going with Lamar, dog. I'm going with Lamar. I think that Lamar Jackson is the best player in the league. You know what I mean? And he's actually playing the best ball, especially with the defense was joining him along. He's playing great football. I got Lamar as the MVP. Now we're talking about defensive player of the year. I'm still staying in NFC North. I'm going Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett to me is playing amazing football. Now we're talking about offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Now, I like this guy a lot. The DB on the Seahawks, I think Whitehead or something like that, right? Amazing football. But I think it's between him and Jalen Carter for defensive rookie of the year. Now, offensive rookie of the year, I'm biased. So me, I was going to say Zay Flowers, but I would say Puka Nagoya off the Rams. Amazing season. He's wide receiver number 1, and no one really expected that. So we're going to give them a shout out for real. You know what I mean? So those are my guys for the midseason awards, man. You know, as we prepare for the week coming up, week 9. And man, I don't know why, but I guess I'm fast with it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We're talking Unc and Phew. Unc is out for a little bit, man. You got the nephew here. And the way I look at it, it's going to be a great, great week of football. We're going to see who are the real ones. You know what I mean? Who are not. Who are the guys and the teams that are real and which ones are not. I think having the Damar Hamlin come back for the, you know what I mean, Bengals versus Bills one is going to be great. Sunday Night Football. You have obviously the Cowboys Eagles, the 4:25 game. Won't be amazing. And then you have obviously, you know, the Ravens versus the Seahawks. 2 teams that are definitely top 5, at least in my book, that are going to battle off to see who's the real one. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. And obviously you have Chiefs, Dolphins. You know, Tyreek Hill revenge game. Right now I'm checking the score. It's still, you know, 7-0 for the Chiefs. They're playing all the way in Germany, by the way. Ain't that crazy? Wild-ish, dog. Wild-ish. And I'll say this. As we go into overtime, man, as we finish on the podcast, man, I love the NFL right now. I love how it's going. But we got to talk about some roughing the passer, some, you know, fines that are happening to a lot of players. I don't like this. I don't like this at all because you're having players who you're trying to teach not to follow physics and play real football. Now, if you look last week, Shiloh Sanders of the Colorado Buffaloes got ejected out of the game for a regular hit. You know what I mean? You had a player on the Broncos who got a 2-3 game suspension for a regular hit. You have multiple players getting fined from the league office just for doing regular hits. And yes, I salute player safety, but at the same time, you got to let these mans play football. Play football. Unless you want to make a flag. Flag is entertaining to watch, but it can't replace football. It cannot replace football. So for me, my thing is I would give the coaches an extra flag so that they can contest some of these ref calls. Because these calls by the ref are ruining games. Ruining games. I don't want to see zebras, dog. I want to see players actually play football and hit. That's how I view football. I hope that's how y'all view it too. But it is what it is, man. Like, can we change it? No. You have a guy like Roger Goodell who just got a contract extension for, I think, $50-some million for 5 years, something crazy like that. The owners are actually approving this. Like, bro, the corruption in the NFL, I don't rock with it, man. I do not rock with it. And y'all know me, I'm more on the conspiracy side, but it's sad. It's sad to see the game that had Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Brian Dawkins, dudes who just hit you in the middle and you'd feel it. There were blitz packages, promoted in the league. Now, yes, player safety is super important. I agree with that. Concussions are terrible. But the physicality of the game actually makes the game more interesting, more fun. You know what I mean? Even Tom Brady talked about this. He's seeing a lot of mediocre football. Why is he seeing mediocre football? Because players are not playing to their potential. Offensive players are playing with a huge advantage. So that's why when I see defensive players like, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, guys like Trayvon Diggs, Heal Up, exceeding expectations and playing good ball. I love it. I love it. By the way, shouts out to Gino. I'm blanking out, but Gino off the Baltimore Ravens with 5 picks, man. Leading the league in interceptions, man. The Ravens defense is looking great. I think the Ravens are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be a fun game, great game. Get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Which game is going to be the game of the week? It's going to be fun, man. But I'll say this. Shouts out to Unc. He'll be ready next week. Shouts out to me for running it this week. And shouts out to y'all for watching, man. Like the video on the way out. And like I say, I'm out. Cheers to y'all. Let's enjoy some football. Let's go.